ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. On behalf of the organizers, Invest Hong Kong, I would like to welcome all of you to the section Leasing and Retail. First of all, may I please introduce myself? I'm Natalie, and I'll be your MC for this morning. So before we get started, I would just like to take a couple of minutes to remind our participants of the following points. The section will be conducted in English with simultaneous interpretation. So for on-site audiences, you may take the headsets from the table at the entrance. And for online audiences, the microphones and videos for the audience will be muted at all times. So if you wish to ask any questions throughout the seminar, please submit it through the Q&A function. We may not be able to answer all questions during the section. However, unanswered questions will be replied individually via email after the webinar. So please let me introduce our moderator for today, Mr. Casey Lam, Head of Chamber and Consulate Engagement at Invest Hong Kong. Casey, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you very much. Can I, first of all, welcome you again to the third day of our Investment Promotion Week. This is a week-long program of seminars and sharing to update everybody on the latest that's happening in all the various sectors, as well as the startup and the GBA days tomorrow and on Friday. Today, we are actually very, very delighted to launch a booklet called Retailing in the 20-Minute City. This is a guide, a very concise guide that has been prepared by Colliers to update a book that was actually launched earlier called, and I have a real copy here, Hong Kong, the 20-Minute City. The title 20-Minute City is actually a shorthand for close, small, proximity. Everything in Hong Kong is close to everything else. And this book actually summarizes, in a very, very nice way, actually, a historical approach to how Hong Kong has developed and its geography. And through its development, the shape of the land, as well as the way the communities have been linked together through the various infrastructure has made it what it is today. So the 20-Minute City, Retailing in 20-Minute City, takes a look at that approach and puts another layer on top of that with the lens of the retailer. Within that, you have all the tips and all the summaries of where to go, how to approach, the things to look out for that are summarized here. I have colleagues actually in the room from the consumer products team that I strongly encourage you to go and talk to after this to get the lowdown on here. The presentation of the book will be given by our friend Hannah Jiang from Colliers. A short introduction. I have to read, I'm sorry. I haven't memorized it yet. So Hannah has over 17 years of experience in valuation and advisory, specializing in valuation, development, and consultancy, financial analysis, and feasibility studies, while working across the Asia-Pacific and the Middle East. Appointed as Head of Valuation and Advisory Services for Colliers Hong Kong, Hannah oversees the Hong Kong operations for the Valuation and Advisory Services team, developing client relationships, delivering major reports, such as ones today, and looking at new initiatives. Hannah is also actively involved in the company's Women in Business Focus Group, which is actually very, very important. And she helps drive Colliers' initiatives around women empowerment and gender equality in the workplace. So, Hannah, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, PowerPoint will be here too, right? Thank you. Retailing in 20-Minute City, as Casey introduced, in Hong Kong, because of a rapid infrastructure development, we believe in the next 10 to 15 years, everywhere from Central, you will be able to reach within 20 minutes. So if we go to the next slide, given that infrastructure expansion, oh, sorry, it's me. Sorry. Yes. Given the infrastructure development, we believe Hong Kong represents a golden opportunity for retailers to build their brand and expand their product coverage in the next 5 years. So my name is Hana Jung. I'm head of valuation and advisory from Colliers International. So today, we launched the book, and you can download the book from the QR code we presented earlier, or there are some hard copies at the back of this room. So the book will cover how dynamic the market Hong Kong is, and then the basics, because I understand all of you in the room already very familiar with the retail market in Hong Kong, but we have an audience on the line. They may not be in Hong Kong or thinking about launching their brand in Hong Kong, so we will cover some of the basics and business advantages of Hong Kong as well. Then we will go through the neighborhood, which are the most important presentation of today. So the market is expanding really rapidly due to the infrastructure development as well as the government initiative. So we will talk about a few of the neighborhoods which retailers can consider for the mid to long term. And not the least, but we have the Greater Bay Area linkage. So by doing this research, we found out how resilient Hong Kong is. And we are backed by really strong domestic consumption. And then we have a future expansion opportunity with the GBA. And Hong Kong is really acting as a pivotal position within Asia. We are international financial and business hub, and we are using dual language. So everywhere you go, you will be able to speak both English as well as Chinese. And based on 2021 and 2022, the baseline, we were blocked by border closure, but we are expecting return of mainland Chinese visitors as well as international visitors. And that will boost up the retail sales going forward. So we can say we are sort of at the bottom at this moment, but we have a much more come for the next few years. And not to mention the least, we have the neighborhood, new neighborhood. That's the government initiative in terms of the North Metropolis, as well as new airport areas. So today we have a policy address at 11 o'clock, and all of our company people are getting ready to cover the new policy. And I think here we can capture some of them in this presentation as well. So Hong Kong, we believe we are the destination to launch and expand brand in Asia. So if we look at the Hong Kong retail sales 2021, our sales volume was around $45 billion US, which is around 1.5 times bigger than Singapore, which is our peer city. And major drivers such as supermarkets, electronic goods, as well as fashion and luxury goods are the main driver or contributor for the retail sales. And we used to have 65 million tourists coming into Hong Kong, or visitors coming to Hong Kong, and about 78% of them were from mainland Chinese. And their overnight spending was around $850 US per day visit. And surprisingly, more than 50% of their spending were really at the retail, which is shopping and eating. So there are key reasons why we should consider coming to Hong Kong. So retail culture as well as how variety of the retail offering right now. So I have some statistics in the book actually. So we have around 63,000 retail shops in Hong Kong. And among that, 28,000 shops are F&B offering. So you can see how many choices we have right now in Hong Kong. And that number can be expanded continuously due to the infrastructure expansion. And then the marketing I want to mention here is we have a lot of numbers. So social media penetration, we are about 86% due to the concentration of a working group as well as a young generation we have in Hong Kong. And then we have 94 daily newspapers and then 451 periodicals as well as 5 local TVs and then 3 broadcast channels. So that runs every single day. So if you launch a new brand, that's the market coverage you can utilize. And such a condensed city, it's not really happening. You won't see that kind of coverage in other peer cities. And then also we have efficient border clearance, easy to pay, stable exchange rate because we pack with the US dollar. And the important thing is the duty-free. So we enjoy in Hong Kong as a duty-free nil tariff price tag. And then you don't, the visitors also no need to worry about getting a VAT return, refund or getting a tax refund, etc. So we got all this kind of advantage. But interestingly, in Hong Kong, the small shops also work. We do see large flagship shops putting their brand on, but we have a shop size as small as like 10 square foot. And they can generate revenue of around $50,000 per month, selling milk tea or selling IT gadgets. So from small to very big, we offer different range of retail products to the customer. So going to the basic of Hong Kong, we have a very unique landscape. So we are such a concentrated market, and then we are utilizing infrastructure network. So we have 99 MTR stations in Hong Kong, and today we will hear from the policy address, there will be further increase in terms of the station numbers. And the MTR is one of the methods of our infrastructure or transportation, public transportation movement. So there's buses and taxis, etc. So from here, I live in Tuen Mun, coming to Central for shopping within 20 minutes due to the expansion of MTR station, as well as I can go to Shenzhen for shopping. I can stay in Tuen Mun to do my daily necessity. That's also possible. So that's a very unique landscape of the retail in Hong Kong. And then we are Asia World City, so we do have a free market economy, very transparent and independent law system to support and also gateway to the mainland China. And one thing I want to highlight to the audience on the line, Hong Kong climate, we are not the tropical city. So we are subtropical climate. So today weather is so nice breeze, right? So we have an enjoyment of autumn, and then the winter is coming soon. So the retailers, the product can be offered, not only the summer products, but they can offer autumn and winter. So there's a variety product you can launch in Hong Kong. So just to recap, we have a no tariff and very simple tax system and stable currency to encourage many spenders or shopping spenders can utilize their platform in Hong Kong. And then the language and efficient custom, as well as the very strong logistics network, help the retailers do their business much, much easier. So if we talk about global trendsetter as a Hong Kong, under the COVID, the e-commerce retail actually increased a lot and improved a lot, we can say. So online retail sales increased by 30% within 2021. And of course, you can see the largest growth was grocery. In Hong Kong, we used to go out to eat, but now during the COVID, we were able to get some ready meals package or some home cookery stuff. So the grocery actually increased a lot. And O2O is one of the new, very strong trend, we can say. Many young generation, they utilize online platform to buy. For example, Casetify, we born in Hong Kong and very trendy and well received the product for the mobile phone cover. My kids all use it, and they love to buy online and wait 7 days to deliver. Now they even have a shop in Landmark, one of the most prestige shopping mall. And people go there and they choose their best design, and they can wait 45 minutes to get their lovely design as well as their name on. So that's O2O trend we will see more and more. And pop-up store is one of the channel for new brand or new trend to try on. So previously, the shopping mall owners, I don't like to maintain, I don't want to handle the pop-up store because it's not really the thing. I want to maintain for the event space. But now, where landlords are well receiving this pop-up store because they not only boosting up their revenue, but also it offers different products for their customers. So if you are looking for increasing brand awareness, or if you are looking for the new customer or test out the product itself, pop-up store is also one of the methods before you launch the permanent shop in Hong Kong. This is a map of Hong Kong. There are so many bubbles. When we talk about shopping mall, or shopping district, we're only thinking about Chimsachoy, Causeway Bay, Central, Mongkok. But in fact, there are so many clusters we can cover. And we highly recommend many retailers to look at different locations suitable for your brand value and value proposition. So major shopping districts, there are 4 districts. They are serving high concentration of a working population as well as tens of thousands visitors in the market. And whenever there is a new brand come in, yes, they will look at these locations first. One thing I want to highlight here is the 4 districts compared to any other peer cities, those established districts, you don't really see the big movement in that location. But in Hong Kong, it's really changing every year. So for example, like if we talk about Central, there are 2 major buildings coming up, which is D. Henderson as well as Cheung Kong 2. And that's a Grade A office building launching around 500,000 square feet of GFA. They will include some of the retail component on the lower zone to serve their high-end working groups. So that's something F&B retailers can consider. And then of course, Site 3 coming up next 5 to 7 years, they will offer really different landscape of Hong Kong shopping because the government lease mentioned that you have to serve the ground floor shop frontage to the public. So the Henderson who won this site, they are thinking of putting large open space, people can walk around, and under the tree they can shop or they can stay in front of the shop. So you will see different products coming up. And then if you're thinking about your new brand coming, these are the new items you have to consider. And emerging neighborhood, these are the concentration of population and also potential infrastructure expansion. So we have North Point, Quarry Bay, Kennedy Town, we now call it K-Town, and then Tuen Mun, Kowloon Bay, as well as Yuen Long, Ma On Shan. So these are the high concentration of population. Their sales never goes down because the population is so stable. And then also the government has been putting so much initiative on the stabilizing housing supply. There are both public and private housings are expanding in this location. So you will be supported by strong population growth going forward as well. And then the highlight of our book is really upcoming locations. So there are continuous development of new sites. The first one, we want to talk about airport, 3rd runway expansion, as well as 11 Sky Cities. But these are the immediate coming up. So 3rd runway, we expecting 2024 they will open, and they were able to cover 100 million passengers more. What does that mean is now, 1st and 2nd runways, by 2018, there were around 78 million passengers coming to Hong Kong or able to serve. So by opening the 3rd runway itself, will be more than double of the capacity coming to Hong Kong. And that way, the airport authority also planning ahead those land areas within the airport city, how they can utilize for commercial and logistics. So if you want to capture those transit passengers or the people who want to go a little bit further from city town to enjoy the shopping, that will be the location going forward. And of course, the GBA, this is the major location to capture Zhuhai, Macau, as well as Guangzhou and Shenzhen. And West Kowloon Cultural District. So we are expecting around 8 million square feet of GFA comprising office, retail, open space, and art and culture facilities. Currently, the WKCD is tendering out the sites for the commercial developer. So developer will buy the land under the 50 years leasehold, and then they will develop the building, and they will put the tenant inside. This is a really long waiting project, and now we have those art facility already enter. And so if you can capture that market earlier, you will able to capture really panoramic sea view, and then people come in from domestic as well as overseas, they will look for this location the first. If I'm a tourist, I must go this location to visit Hong Kong. So that's the opportunity retailer can consider. And then we have a Wong Chok Kang. This is the south side of Hong Kong Island. And we have a few development coming up. So 500,000 square of retail space by MTR station. So the MTRC will develop this retail space. So that's as big as IFC. And then we have, of course, the reposition of Ocean Park, opening of Water World. These are I call it Wong Chok Kang is the Hawaii of Hong Kong. I really like to go to Wong Chok Kang. So if you're looking for the opportunity to capture that F&B and then working group, because Wong Chok Kang used to be industrial, now it transit to office space or commercial space, so together with the residential. So that's the location we highly recommend. And we have a Kai Tak. So Kai Tak is CBD2 within the Kowloon East. And then there are more infrastructure coming up, which is Kai Tak Cruise Terminal already open. And then we are looking for the Kai Tak Sports Park opening in 2024. So this year we are reopening the Hong Kong Sevens. I'm so excited. But once the Kai Tak Sports Center finished, the Sevens will host over there. And expecting about 50,000 people can see the venue at once. Therefore, we will be able to host more international events. And that way, the large population concentration for the international event, the retailers can look for the opportunity. And lastly, the upcoming location, North Metropolis. There are a lot of effort from the government. I think today, government policy, we will also hear many initiatives on this area. At this moment, you can see there are a few dots here. So we have Hong Kong Shenzhen Science Park and also a few new town development and then NDA development such as Hong Shou Q and Yunlong NDA, Gudong North NDA. So that NDA, we will drag on about 2.5 million population. That can be one of the city. So that will help the shift of residential location from down to north. And then there will be very easy transport between the Shenzhen and Hong Kong. So people who work in Shenzhen, they can come here to live, or people who work here will also able to live in Shenzhen. So capturing this cross-border GBA location, the North Metropolis, we recommend all the retailers look for the opportunity as early as possible. At this moment, many developers are trying to participate, and then some of the land has been sold. So you will see those the retail square foot coming up in the market very soon. All right, so this is our last slide. So GBA is something very important for us to utilize. So if we look at Hong Kong alone, GBA, we have 11 cities or districts we can cover. And then GDP itself is 1.7 trillion US dollar, which is a really, really significant consumer power location. And your campus from Hong Kong, the population of 7 million, now you have a population of 86 million. So the Hong Kong's role really to the GBA is helping retailers to able to move goods from in and out and able to sell the products, not only Hong Kong, but looking at the bigger regions such as the GBA. So in conclusion, I still believe that we have a significant mid to long-term potential. And we never been better time to develop retail strategy in Hong Kong. You can utilize the low rent level at this moment and tenants market position at this moment. And you can plan for next 5 years because the border will open 1 to 2 years time. International border already opening, and then mainland border very, very soon. And then we are ever happening improvement. So the infrastructure from government, you don't really see from other peer cities. So Hong Kong government is really proactively promoting this infrastructure development and also their initiatives. So thank you very much. More detail, please refer to our report.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Thank you very much. That was very, very interesting. Can we put the QR code again for the booklet? So in case you haven't Thank you. So in case you haven't had the chance to download it, there are actually some copies here, which I will invite you to come and pick up after the end of the session. I'd like to introduce my second panelist, our good friend Louis Yao. A few words about Louis. Louis has over 20 years of working experience in the luxury fashion industry. He started his luxury fashion career with Lane Crawford, Burberry, and Bali, and moved on to leadership positions of international luxury brands for Greater China and Southeast Asia. He was also Asia Managing Director of New York fashion brands like St. John Knits and DVF Diane von Furstenberg, before founding Shirt Stylist, his own company, a global fashion platform of custom-made shirts with unique customer proposition of integrating personalized styling services with digital experiences. Thank you, Louis, for joining us. First of all, I would like to start with Louis. If I may, how is the retail situation now in Hong Kong as a retailer? And how do you see it changing in the coming short to medium term?
Okay, thanks, Casey. Good morning, everyone. I'm Louis. Nice to meet you all. I think the Hong Kong retail market is strong and healthy, especially supported by the strong performance of the local consumption. I think most of you know that the local consumers, the consumer sentiment is high, especially in the past 6 months, and especially for some categories. For example, F&B, you see the new restaurant, cafe is doing very good. And the second one is the grocery market. And the third one is the lifestyle market. Lifestyle can be like the casual wear or like the homeware or even the sporting goods. Because like under the new normal, the local customers, they love to do more exercise, work from home, more time to spend with friends. So we see the sporting products, the lifestyle products is doing very good. Yeah, and also is I think in the past 2 years, I think today we have a lot of landlords here. It's like many shopping malls, they do a lot of focus on how to serve the local customer better. We see like in the before, say for example, in a shopping mall, we have maybe in the basement or the fourth floor is all restaurant. They changed their strategies. They put the restaurant in different floors. They introduce a lot of new brands, some very interesting brands from different countries of the world, and also to have very interesting cafe in different corner, so that we see the traffics in the shopping mall, no matter in the core shopping center or community mall, are doing very good. So the landlord, they know how to serve the local customers. So I think the spending of the local customer will continue to be strong.
Thank you. Hannah, do you see a reflection of that in rentals and such, in valuation?
Yeah, I think just adding on the trend side, before whenever there's a new brand coming into Hong Kong, they will look for very big space. Or I want the corner on the street, I want 3-story, 4-story, and I can put my big name on it. But it has been proved that paying close to 10 million Hong Kong dollar or close to like 1.2 million US dollar per month is not really sustainable. So the brand are getting smarter to use the space efficiently. So we do see that once the border fully open or we get rid of COVID, we will see those flagship coming back, but you won't see like 3 to 4 story at the corner anymore. They maybe utilize the ground floor, but they maybe utilize maximum 2 stories in the market. And now the look in Hong Kong, the position of the retail, as Louis mentioned, is not anymore concentration of F&B in one floor, concentration of menswear on one floor. They will provide the different mixtures because customer will find out more interesting. The family going for shopping, you don't need to separate. Husband go to the basement and then wife go to the second floor and line up for the luxury brand. So I think the mixture of tenant will be another strategy from the different landlords. So that's what we will see. And then, of course, the online and offline promotion at the same time to attract their revenue. I think that will be the third trend. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to add on the online and offline. You see, the landlords are very smart in Hong Kong to use the space and also to use the technologies to enhance the shopping experience. Say before I work for some brands for the men's shoes, if I open a store, at least one quarter of my store needs to be for storage. But now the shopping mall and the retailers are very smart using technologies to reduce the inventory level. And then the store is more like an experience center, experience place. So they can use more small space, can provide much better experience. I think it is very also good for new brands when they enter Hong Kong because the space they required is much smaller. So that's everything is more efficient.
Yeah, and also for the same price, you can get a higher end or a better location because you can save on rent.
Yes.
Yeah. My second question: how important is tourism spending in Hong Kong? We know that tourism has dropped a lot since COVID, and we definitely see that coming back. But how is tourism spending as a category important to a retailer?
In Hong Kong too is also, of course, important. But as I said, it's we are already very good at serving our local customers. So I see when the tourists are coming back, it's going to be a big add-on to the sales of retailer. Hong Kong is very famous for the tourism because there are few reasons. Of course, the price. Before, when I worked for a lot of international fashion brands in the whole region, mainland China, Southeast Asia, the retail price of Hong Kong is always the lowest. It's because we don't have the sales tax, we don't have the import duty. So I think this is going to be the advantage of Hong Kong will continue. And also it's as Hannah said, is many brands, they love to build their first store and also flagship store in Hong Kong. That means they will have the latest store concept design and also have the most comprehensive and complete collection of their goods. So it always attracts tourists come back. So I think when we have more overseas tourists and maybe I don't know what time we have more mainland Chinese tourists, and then it's going to be a big add-on to the sales of the local retailer.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We were thinking 2020, since 2020 when COVID hit Hong Kong and border closing, we thought, we are at the end of the retail era. We don't have sales anymore. But that wasn't the case. We still able to achieve $45 billion retail sales last year. And this is compared to Singapore is only $29 billion. So we do have a really strong domestic consumption. We don't need to rely on the tourist expenses, but certain categories, yes, it will be add-on. If that 65 million people revisiting Hong Kong in the very coming near future, then that convert to the sales revenue for the many retailers. But if I'm not really targeting tourism market, I'm already quite strong with the Hong Kong domestic market. Yeah.
Is the leasing market still quite strong in Hong Kong in retail?
I think the leasing market, if you look at the high street shops like Russell Street and Canton Road, we do see vacancies there because the previous years before COVID, that was the most expensive retail spaces in the world. Now you can see the Russell Street used to be cosmetic and watches. Now Brandy Melbourne is there. Transformers restaurant is coming up. So the retail mix has been changed. And then landlords also come down to more reasonable level because it's win-win situation. Yes, the rental go down. I'm not earning as much as before, but I also need to make sure my tenant can survive within this the period. So I think the landlord became more reasonable and offering good incentive to the tenant, and they're able to utilize this chance to expand or launch new brand in Hong Kong right now.
Yes, thank you. Can I ask Lewis, just going back to that comment about flagship stores and first stores in Asia for brands, can you maybe share with us from your past experience sort of working with luxury brands, what that strategy looks like, what those brands are doing to leverage a location in Hong Kong to help them expand?
Yeah, I think for most of the international brands, luxury fashion brands, Hong Kong definitely is the most important city, especially for the first time to early enter the Asian market. There are a few reasons. Number one is they love to set up their regional office in Hong Kong. It's because the legal, the tax, and also the quality of the professional in Hong Kong is, and also one thing is if you look at the map of the whole Asia, Hong Kong is always, in the middle. So for us as we need to travel around the whole Asia, we can within 3-4 hours. We can go to Beijing, we can go to Japan, even Jakarta. It's very easy to manage the regional business. So most of the international brands, they love to set up their regional office in Hong Kong. And also, as I mentioned before, they love to set up their first store and flagship store because the shopping mall in Hong Kong are all in very high standard. And the landlord of Hong Kong, they really understand the positioning and the value of the international brands. So they know how to put to them to wish for who are the neighborhood of the brand. So it's give a very comfortable environment for the new brands they enter the Hong Kong market. And also, Hong Kong is always as a showcase, the shopping mall and the flagship store. Many landlords from mainland China, from Japan, from Singapore, they love to go to Hong Kong quarterly, half-yearly to see any new brands in Hong Kong. What is their service level? What are their products? So if the brands are looking very good in Hong Kong, they will discuss with them. Okay, do you like to come to our country? So Hong Kong is very good. Of course, the last but the most important reason is the sales in Hong Kong is always the highest among the countries in Asia.
Yeah, I think that's the very important point of the Hong Kong sales is a lot of brands, they really appreciate Hong Kong sales is one of the highest. For example, there was a Japanese supermarket. I think some of you seen their large expansion in the Causeway Bay, Tsim Sha Tsui Central, as well as some of Zhongguan, those residential area. I believe you know which one I'm referring. So that Japanese supermarket, they opened in 2019 in Hong Kong. And last 2 years, they expand to 9 stores. And their stores are not small. They are triple of this room size, right? And their 40% of overall company revenue was driven by Hong Kong by 2021 annual report. So that shows how strong the consumer power if you are launching to look at the Asia market in Hong Kong.
That's very interesting because this exactly leads on to my next question because COVID has changed consumer pattern in terms of behavior, in terms of buying, shopping, eating. You mentioned some of those locations, and those locations are actually, I'm doing another plug for this. Please download. There's actually a very extensive run-through of all the main retail and of course eating, and they go hand in hand, areas in Hong Kong. For those of us who actually live in Hong Kong, those in this room, we understand those subtleties. But for those friends who are joining online, there are actually very important subtleties that can be picked up. Can you explain a little bit about the changes in consumer behavior? And will they likely stay also?
Yes, I think the consumers, under the COVID, we were quite constrained, right? We had a policy that we can't go to the restaurant more than 2 people, now 4 people. Today, I think 12 people, I lost the count. So that policy every time changed. And then now I'm more mindful of hygiene and the social distance between people. So when I go restaurant before, I have to sit very compact seats. There were not much space, not many space offering luxury of a space. Now those restaurant F&B offering, they're changing the layout within the shop. They try to give a larger table. They try to give a larger chairs to make sure the customers are comfortable. I think that's one thing. And then working from home environment. So me, I work in Wan Chai, but I live in, say, Yuen Long. When I work from home, I don't want to cook because I'm already quite busy with all the calls back to back. Then I need to either order or I need to go out to eat. And previously there were not much offering, but now the retailers know that, at least 1 to 2 days people working from home. So the neighborhood development or catchment of the F&B became very, very strong. So the retailers not only looking at opening in Causeway Bay, Tsim Sha Tsui, they are expanding to Jeonggwano or even new territories like Winong, Chumun, wherever there is good concentration of a population. I think that's the sort of a new thing or new trend under the COVID. We have changed our behaviors.
Lewis.
Yeah, I totally agree with Hannah. Say, for example, for myself, I live in Jeonggwano, in the east side of the Kowloon. I think it's around like 20 minutes MTR subway, go to the central. Because of the new normal, many people, they work from home. And at the same time, the development of those community environment is super lifestyle, super luxury. As you said, the restaurant, you find a restaurant like in Jeonggwano, you can also find in Causeway Bay, also in Central.
Right.
And they are always full.
Yeah.
Like not only weekend, but even though on like the weekdays, evening, they are also very, very full.
Yeah.
And you see also a lot of like expats or like the middle class people, when they want to mingle with friends, they don't need to go to Causeway Bay. They just, okay, let's go to the seaside of Jeonggwano South, and then there are lots of nice restaurants facing a very nice sea view, and then you can just mingle there. So it creates a lot of opportunities, not only for F&B, but also for some lifestyle brands, because the consumer are staying there. Yeah. And also, I think another good thing is the emerging use of technologies in Hong Kong. The retailer, they use a lot, like not only O2O, but like before, maybe Hong Kong consumer just go online to search the product. But now they can complete the transaction, they can click and reserve, and also the delivery. It also gives a lot of opportunities to new brands when they enter the Hong Kong market. They have to think about not only a physical store, but how to leverage technologies so that's to cover the business of the whole Hong Kong. And this kind of experience and this kind of expectation is getting higher and higher.
Right. So there is a tendency of localization of spend rather than centralization of spend. There is that still, the hubs and so on, we mentioned earlier, the main centers, but there is also an increasing importance of localized spending. Right. Yeah, very interesting. I think from those, how do you see the opportunities going forward for retailers and F&B also? I guess, Hannah, you're also covering that sort of area. People who are thinking of starting to come into Asia and definitely think about Hong Kong. How do you see opportunities going forward for these businesses?
Yes, if you refer our booklet, there is a quite good guideline what to consider coming to Hong Kong. I think as a retail, you have mainly two streams. One is a shopping mall, the other one is a high street or street level. And street level doesn't mean only ground floor. In Hong Kong, all the retailers are really vertical, so you can open restaurant on the 10th floor of one of the commercial building. People still recognize it. So when you look at these two angles, there are pros and cons. Like shopping malls, you have more support from landlord in terms of marketing and different events, but there's also limitation in terms of your location. You can't just cherry pick. They will give you, or you must stay in that location, or they have a right to mix you or move you within a year. That depends on the feedback from the customer, and you have some limitation on the shop frontage, etc. But if you go to the street, You have a less restriction from the landlord, and you can decorate your space, or you can put the facade as much grand as what you want. So there is a different requirement. But one thing I want to highlight here is when come to the Hong Kong, we have to understand the local consumer really well. So understanding or studying the consumer pattern or consumer culture will be quite important. Give you example is I'm originally from Korea. I've been in Hong Kong 16 years. I think 3 years back, Korean chicken, fried chicken was so boom. Everywhere you go on the street, there are Korean chicken everywhere. But in Hong Kong, people like to go restaurant with a variety of choice. They never eat one food, right? But when you go Korean restaurant, originally the Korean fried chicken, they only sell chicken. So that was not able to capture the market well. Now some die, some still survive, or some really doing good due to the cultural things, etc. But they expand their offering. They don't just sell chicken. They sell like pizza type of thing. They sell pancakes. And they put a lot of different drinks. These brands, they survive because they adapt the local culture. When you go Chinese restaurant, you have 100 pages of a menu because that's the culture. That's what Hong Kong people want. They want variety. They cannot eat just one food. So this is one of the example when the foreign brand coming to Hong Kong must understand and study well the Hong Kong culture, the domestic culture.
Thank you, Louis. As a you work for these retailers. You are intimately aware of what they're thinking. Yeah.
Yes, I think apart from the local culture, and Hong Kong is also very interesting. Hong Kong is a very international city. We have a lot of expats like Hannah. We are from different countries, right? So the retail markets can offer a wide range of like F&B, wide range of product category because we have a very dynamic and very high variety of people in Hong Kong. Yeah, so huge opportunities.
Very good. Before we finish, can I just invite Angelica from the Consumer Products team to say a few words?
Hi, everybody. So many friends in the audience. Thanks for coming. Casey and I and Hannah have been working on this book for a long time. We haven't got any printed copies now, but please come and download the thing. It's multiple pages, really super practical. And the best thing is that we've got insider tips throughout the book and also things to look out for when you are signing a lease, things should know before you sign a lease, not after you sign a lease. And so this is, at Invest Hong Kong, we have a team. So is the consumer products team here? We have one here. So can you maybe take a look around? And, we have some at the back, consumer product team. If you're looking to lease, if you want to have a chat, if you want to know more about the leasing, please come and talk to our team. And for those joining us online, some of my colleagues said they wanted to see me on screen, so I'm, on stage waving to them. Please join us, either write to us in Hong Kong or to our 32 offices around the world. But a big thank you to Hannah and her colleagues for putting this booklet together. Really super detailed. And I think I know a lot of you know Hong Kong already, but there are definitely neighborhoods, as we saw, that you might not have discovered or you haven't looked at or considered, or, where has the shopping changed? As Hannah and Louis are saying, it's no longer only in those core cities. Residential neighborhoods are super booming. So I think I urge you, whether you know Hong Kong or not, look through and see what's there. Discover new things about Hong Kong that you didn't know about by reading this booklet. So available online, free for download. Okay, and talk to our team, talk to Hannah. So we're going to have a bit of time mingling now. Please, I want to see these business cards flying around. It's been too long that we haven't been flying business cards around. So anyway, thank you so much for coming. And everybody got to download this QR code. Okay, give your time back to Casey.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angelica. Thank you so much. Finally, my thanks to my two panelists, Louis and Hannah, for your sharing. Please do stay, by the way. They're going to be staying around until lunch to give advice or take any questions you'd like to ask privately. Please do stay and pick their brains. They are immensely experienced and rich in resources. Please. It's fine. Okay.
All right. Okay, thank you. Shall we take a picture together? Yeah? Shall we take a picture together? So, as Angelica, thank you, Angelica. Thank you, Casey, Lewis, and Hannah for a very informative sharing just now about leasing and retail in Hong Kong. So remember to pick up your booklet at the back of our room, or we have some here at the front as well. And don't forget to scan the QR code for a detailed version. So, all right. Okay, anybody else? Yes? Want to join in this? Okay, our Tim. Yes, come on. Just bear with us for a few seconds. Yes, and then we'll have the mingle time for everyone. Right? Okay, so shall we have somebody standing over here? It will be a nicer picture. 我哋揾兩個企過嚟呢邊好唔好啊？係啦，咁張相會靚啲。Thank you. Shall we just stand? Right. Okay, everyone, pose for photographer. Say cheese. Okay. All right then. Cheese. Oh, no, unofficial. Our camera, our phone. 3, 2, 1. Yay! Thank you, everyone, once again. Thank you for joining us. We hope that you find it's a very fruitful morning. As Angelica said, please feel free to contact our team, Invest Hong Kong. By all means, we are very happy to help out in any ways. And thank you once again, our distinguished guests, our speakers for their insights, and all the participants for joining us online and on-site this morning. We have fabulous programs coming up in the afternoon, so see you all after lunch. But please feel free to mingle, spread around your name cards, talk to everyone. We're very happy to see all the vibes and everything going on here. Thank you, and see you all after lunch. Thank you.